I feel like when I think about the trauma that black men have gone through, along with the trauma that a black woman has gone through, we're able to heal each other because we know each other's pain. We know our ancestors' pain. Black men need a black woman, and black women need a black man to help us be better. And because we know each other, we need each other to heal those wounds that were never really treated.
Welcome to my channel. This is Divested Diamonds. You have arrived. In this video, I'm going to be responding to someone calling themselves Lolo, who left me not one, but 2 comments on the mammies aboard the Divestment Hate Train video. This video, to the right-hand side of the comment. Now, I know that some of you ladies don't like it when content creators go back and forth with trolls. And I understand that. But at the same time, when shots are fired and uninformed people are sitting on the internet spreading misinformation, it's up to us to correct those mistakes as we go along. We as black women cannot afford to be nonchalant about anything when it comes to how we are portrayed or the lies being told about us. This is part of the problem and the reason as to why we are viewed in this problematic light. We have sat back for years and allowed nakers and mammy pick-me's to soil our image. And because black women have been silent about it, it was assumed that the message was okay to continue being put out there. Now, as some of you know, this is not my first channel. I have done this before. So, of all people, I understand what it means to have pop-up stupidity in the comment section. This is not being done out of anger. It needs to be done because I need to continue highlighting the foolishness of some of these males and females. Clearly, these are not men and women. So, someone calling themselves Lolo left me 2 comments, and I would like to address them. I will constantly refer to this troll as an adult human female because of their alias. I don't know what they are, but we don't have time to decipher any of that. Let's get into it. So she starts off by saying, "You do not want to accept the fact that all of the things you are blaming does not change the fact that your perception is problematic." Okay, I know what they're saying, despite the bad grammar, but what is clear to me is that this person did not watch the video in its entirety, because had they done so, they would know that divestment isn't about dating men of other races. The reason I'm going with this narrative is because this is their whole argument throughout the rant. They keep complaining and taking shots at divestors being in relationships with men of other races that it's actually starting to come off a little envious. She keeps talking about facts, but hasn't made any factual, valid points at all. She sounds like the Grinch that stole Christmas. Anyway, you want to talk about facts and perception? Let me give you mine. The facts are that the so-called black community doesn't exist. Because in order for a community to exist, there has to be harmony in working together. There has to be safety measures put in place to protect the innocent from the rotten apples. There has to be a sense of togetherness, respect, morals, a code of conduct, as well as common goals in relation to the direction in which that community would like to go. None of these things exist in your community. The so-called community is full of crime, of all kinds, including sexual, to the women and children, and majority of you do get a rise from perpetuating these behaviors because you are so desensitized to the lack of morality being shoved in your faces by men who are supposed to be protecting you. So don't come to me with this bullshit, sis. And that was sarcasm, in case you didn't catch that. You see, the very community that you're so desperately protecting is dangerous. It's unhealthy to be a part of because it's a breeding ground for everything that's morally inept in society. Black people don't even like other black people. And this is nothing new. What goes on in America is just the tip of the iceberg. A lot of melanated people on the continent of Africa hate one another. They would rather embrace foreign people who don't look like them than stand up for people who look like them. Xenophobia and tribalism are nothing but the order of the day. How do you think Black Americans got here? You want to play? Let's go. If you don't think that any of these things are problematic, I don't know what to tell you. Let's continue. She says you are considered hellraisers, bullies, and ghetto. Leaving the Black community will not change that. Okay, let's address that. The only reason we as divestors are considered hellraisers is because majority of Black women have seen the light and they refuse to partake in your fuckery. You have gotten so used to being abused that you are ready and willing to put on your cape in favor of Black dick because, let's face it, most of you mammies would cease to exist if you didn't get your regular dosage of STD-ridden community peen. Just be honest. You worship dust buckets, and their peen is not only theirs, but your most prized possessions as well. You can miss me with that. What you're looking for is some sort of deranged sisterhood where you get to compete with other Black women for dirty dick. Of course you consider us bullies because we speak our minds about what's really going on. It's called telling the truth. You should try it sometime. It's very freeing. You know, it shouldn't have to be this way, but Black men and women like you have been instrumental in subjugating other Black women and children because you will do anything for your oppressor, even if it means throwing another Black woman under the bus. What most of you need is therapy and a break from any type of relationship. You are toxic, and the whole community is a petri dish of people with bacterial mindset. Deadly, overgrown, and toxic. And as far as being ghetto, you assume that all divestors have lived a Blackistani life, and that's simply not true. While it may be the case for the majority, everybody's background isn't the same. There are Black women coming from different circumstances, which doesn't always necessarily mean Blackistan or ghetto. Again, if you understood what divestment was, you would know this. But people like you and the rest of the Black dick loving mammy community think you can speak for us. And that is just simply unacceptable. As usual, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Finally, leaving the Black community is a huge weight lifted off the shoulders of Black women. These unsafe neighborhoods, infused with baby mama drama and degenerate behavior, are all things that are left behind once Black women rid themselves of Blackistan. That should be a good thing but apparently not for you. People like you thrive off of the dysfunction of that non-community because really your middle name is mediocrity. Most of you mammies, most of you pick-me's are allergic to success. You prefer to be bullied by males who have nothing, men who are mediocre at best. And because misery loves company, you want us to be a part of that toxic environment too. Get the fuck out of here. Let's continue. She says that is the way the world sees you, and you can't blame that on black men. It is who you are. Every other race of men fear it and joke about it when you're not around, but none of them want to marry into it. Okay, let's address this. As someone who has traveled the world extensively and lived on 3 continents, I'll tell you this. Americans in general are not looked upon favorably by people from many different countries. Most people in Europe especially think Americans are stupid, ignorant, and unrefined. That's what the world thinks of us as Americans. This is not hearsay. I've heard people say this, but once they realize I'm standing right there, then comes the apologies. So let's start with that. As far as our reputation as black women is concerned, guess who soiled that? It wasn't black women. Black men did that through their music. And if you've ever left the city in which you live and traveled overseas, not abroad, overseas, you would know that hip hop has been very influential the world over. Do you know why people enjoy that genre of music, even though they are aware that it's denigrating black women? It's because it's heavily marketed, it's catchy, and these people don't have to worry about their reputation because it's not their image being destroyed. You're talking about a bunch of men who have no standards or self-respect, no self-awareness, being the representatives for the black collective. Black women did not destroy their image. Black men did. Because guess what? Denigrating the image of black women is a billion, if not trillion-dollar business. Do you know who they're laughing at in those instances? They are laughing at ghetto, uneducated black men who have no scruples, who have sold themselves to the industry for a few dollars, by the way, while disrespecting women in their community. Black men are the only men in this world who go around perpetuating harmful stereotypes for the world to consume. The black woman's mistake for all these years was not fighting back. Artists like Queen Latifah, Yo-Yo, MC Lyte tried to correct that image in music, and that only made a tiny bit of difference. The stereotypes are further reignited by the likes of Cardi B, a non-black woman who is obsessed with using the N-word, a woman who people like you put on a pedestal because regardless of what you have to say, you black identified women support these atrocious messages because it's the only way that you can prove your blackness. You're down with the brothers. You're down for the cause. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are deleting you every 5.5 hours. So no, people of other races do not see us all as ghetto because some of us move in different circles, sweetheart. It's not who we are. Some of us have never been ghetto, and we will never be ghetto. Sounds like you're projecting. So speak for yourself. You don't speak for women who choose to leave the toxic so-called community behind. The only thing divestors are guilty of is choosing themselves. And if that's a crime, then oh fucking well. Go and talk to Cardi B. Talk to Lizzo. And talk to the City Girls and Megan Thee Stallion about the continued denigration of black women's image. And while you're at it, talk to black males and ask them why it is that they continue to do the same. Ask these uneducated ignorants why they keep making demon music at the expense of black women. Ask them why they continue to give offerings to demonic entities through their music by way of the black woman. You can't, can you? Because that might cut off your endless supply of black dick. Because goodness knows it's the most important thing in your lives. We can't blame black men? Oh, yes, we can. Everything is documented, sweetheart. There's a whole timeline full of evidence. Look it up. Do your homework. And as far as men of other races not marrying black women, that's a fallacy. Men of other races do find black women attractive. They are attracted to black women. The issue has always been that black women's loyalty has always been misplaced. They care too much about black men. That's the problem. Always waiting for that unicorn of a man when they really should have been expanding their horizons to maximize and fulfill their dating and marriage options. And I'll bet that you don't have friends of other races in your life, male or female. Because again, this is the level of ignorance being spewed by people like you. At this point, it's to be expected. You are not open-minded enough because you think like majority of these uneducated, ignorant black males who think everything is about racism. You think everything is racist and every problem in the so-called community, whether self-imposed or not, is white supremacy. Your kind kills me. You really do. And before I get to what you said about your grandfather, Godfather, Kevin Samuels, let me say this. The woman you are here caping for, this Shay Sharday, who was a supporter of his, sounds just like him. Hateful towards other black women who choose to live life on their own terms. What is up with you women? She gets so horny for our type of content every time she sees anything to do with divestment. This is a sad individual who, despite being married to a black man, still isn't happy with herself because you weirdos, for some reason, insist on sharing your struggle of experiences with other black women, including black women who don't have any attraction to black men. It's so bizarre. She's the same woman who tried to debunk divestment by doing an interview with a white woman with the sole purpose of exposing divestors and shaming black women from divestment, all the while having a good laugh with that woman at black women's expense. You can't make this shit up. This is the toxic mentality that I'm talking about. The need to want to undermine black women and their decisions. It's just strange to me. When it comes to divestment, what is there to debunk? You cannot debunk the need for safety. What is there to debunk when divestment simply means leaving toxicity behind by putting yourself first? There's no discussion to be had. And bringing women of other races and coercing them to see something wrong in groups of women leaving their community in order to save themselves in order to save their lives and find greener pastures only makes you look bitter. You see, she calls us bitter when her insides are full of sour grapes. Let's continue. She says, and rather than address that and take accountability and try to get these women to understand it is their choice and actions, you are telling them to label yourself divestors and run after white men will change their outcome, as Kevin Samuels said. Gosh, this woman cannot write to save her life. Okay, where was I? As Kevin Samuels said, you're going to die alone. You're just going to be a divester doing it. Okay, let's address this. First of all, it always makes me laugh when these mammies and their dusties try to shame black women into being humble. You are a troll coming onto my channel to tell me what I can or cannot do. Now, I might be part of the group of women who initiated the divestment movement. However, I have never forced anyone to call themselves a divester. Didn't do it then, and I sure as hell am not doing it now. When we started talking about divestment, we had one goal in mind, which was to get as many black women and girls as possible away from Blackistan. Why? Because we saw a steadily rising issue which mainstream media were not paying attention to. Perhaps they were. They just didn't care to talk about it. They still aren't. And you know how the saying goes. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Black femicide has been happening for a while now. And we were some of the few people on YouTube who were talking about this. Now I know about 5 years ago, I started talking quite heavily about black women and children being deleted. Now, I'm a highly sensitive and intuitive person, and stories like that do take a toll on me. I spoke about it on and off to bring awareness to the issue. Other women within the group did the same. Successful Ladies Live, whose channel is now Leandria TV, had stats on both femicide and black on black crime. She started talking about the gun memorial and bringing awareness to those issues. There were other channels such as Black Women Ban Up, Isadora Storm, Simone 56, who, if I remember correctly, coined the term divestment. We had channels like Lady Quiet Storm, who is still around today. Her channel name has changed to BGT Finance. When you look through her content, you will find fantastic videos on her channel talking about a plethora of things. And I do recommend you check her out. And then we saw another wave of content creators like Love M and Crystal Swirls. And of course, one of the OGs herself, Miss Archduchess, aka Mad. She's been around for a while, working hard for black women. So we've been doing the work. And what started off as advice to black women in not limiting themselves to just dating black men because they had other options, transitioned into divestment. And the sole purpose was to show black women and girls that they didn't have to stay in a community that didn't care about them. So, no, I'm not here preaching to black women to run after white men hoping it will change their outcome. They just don't have to limit themselves to dating, marrying, or waiting for a black man just because they share the same skin tone. That's retarded. And if you would like to take it further and be factual with it, these same black men were the ones responsible for deleting black women and children then and have continued to do so today. So why would any logical woman send other women into the lion's den? What are you trying to achieve? You want to talk about accountability? For what? Black women are always being held accountable for everything. I just don't understand the obsession in wanting to humble black women while coddling black men. It doesn't make sense. And this whole thing about telling women that they're gonna die alone is just pathetic. Who the fuck cares? The only people obsessed with that are black males and mammies. A lot of you weirdos showed up on that dead man's channel because most of you have low self-esteem, you have daddy issues, you lack social skills and any kind of etiquette. That is why you showed up to speak to an unqualified man who got his knowledge on how to denigrate black women from the University of fucking YouTube. That man was twice divorced. He wasn't there for his kid or kids, whatever. He made his money and gained clout off of the continued degradation of black women, and you crazies think that he was a fountain of knowledge? You have got to be kidding me. The men and women who followed him and listened to his every word were just as warped and as delusional as he was. The issue with a lot of you desperados is that you need, okay? You need to get married because apparently the presence of a man in your lives solidifies your humanity. It validates your existence because what else would you be without the presence of someone, good or bad, in your lives? You just want to be able to say that you are married. You don't care the quality of persons that you allow in your sacred space. You can count me out with that groupthink. Your cult leader is now gone. And I guess that you're going to die alone too now that you don't have anyone turning you into circus freaks for all to see. So retarded. And FYI, I have been married, okay? Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I got married because I wanted to get married. I didn't need to get married. There's a big difference. Most of you pick-me's are desperate. And I have never, not once have I ever been desperate for marriage. I didn't even try. I didn't go looking for it. It came looking for me. And if I wanted to get married 5 more times, it wouldn't be that difficult to find a husband. It's not rocket science. I'm just not that way inclined. I love myself and I know my worth. And having someone in my life is meant to complement me, not complete me. And that's the issue with a lot of you desperate women out there. You don't think that you are a whole person until you have a man in your life. That's just bizarre. And going back to Kevin Samuels, isn't it ironic that after speaking disparagingly to black women and telling them how they were going to die alone, he ended up dying alone? Now, there are a couple of you frogs who stopped by to insult me because, well, daddy issues. You couldn't help yourselves. So you stopped by to bussy pop and cry in my comment section about how black women are mad because he told the truth. The truth? Don't make me laugh. That man didn't tell the truth, and he was not brutally honest with black women. He was brutally disrespectful to black women. And the Divine Mother cashed that check. Ka-ching. Keep playing. And now your disbelief at this man's demise has you blaming this poor woman for his death? grasping at straws, I see. You will say and do anything to bring your grandfather back, huh? Sorry, I mean godfather. Shout out to Molly for the extra scoop. Thank you, girl. So, Miss Hortensia Alcantara has spoken out about her newfound attention that she's currently receiving, noting that some people are tearing down her character without knowing who she really is. She took to Instagram a few days ago to express her thoughts on the matter, and she said, "It's crazy how complete strangers try to hurt your character. Believe it or not, there's still good-hearted people in this cruel world. Unbelievable to think that I have to clear my name for doing the right thing. Let me find a lawyer and make these people take all this mess down. I'm a humble, six-figure woman from the Midwest. No need for a one-night stand. My family and friends know I'm a good person. People are evil, but sending you love." Well, according to what we read, he met you that night and took you to his alleged apartment. Now, at which point did this man fall on top of you, girl? See, clearly, this was your first encounter. And for someone who claims to be a nurse, you really didn't do much to save your sugar daddy, it seems. Sorry, I mean, one night stand. Oh man, I messed it up again. Oh, sorry. I mean, your friend. But who the hell cares? And by the way, why was she so rude and performative during the 911 call? I have nurses in my family, and pardon me for asking, but aren't nurses trained on how to deal with stressful situations? I'm just saying. Let's listen and pay attention, shall we?
Okay, is this a house or an apartment?
Oh my god, I don't fucking know. It's Kevin Samuel's apartment.
You don't know if it's a house or apartment?
Oh, it's an apartment.
Okay, what's the apartment number?
I know. I just need to give him CPR. Just please, just ask the front
You need an ambulance?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you listening?
Hold on, ma'am. I have to connect you with the ambulance.
It's Kevin fucking Samuel.
I
please.
understand, but I have to connect you with the ambulance.
Are you okay?
EMS, what's the address of your emergency? Is he awake?
No, he has an irregular rhythm. I can feel it. He's breathing in and out, but he has an irregular rhythm. It's probably his heart. So I need you to get here with the fucking.
Atlanta, I'm up.
Stop
What's
him.
on, ma'am?
Come on, Kevin, you got it. Oh, come on, just try to breathe. Come on, you got it. Come on, think about your mom. Think about your daughter. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
I'm sorry.
2, 3,
I
4.
need to call the front desk to get an AED. He's not going to make it.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1. But, ma'am, I don't want you to disconnect because something can happen while you disconnect, ma'am.
I understand, but I'm saying I need AED. I need, if they have one downstairs, I need to get them up here now.
Are you able
So
to get the neighbor, ma'am, real
I'm
quick,
going to
and
hang
ask
up
them
with
to help
you,
you?
or I hang up with you, or you call them in the front desk and give me a fucking AED right here now. He's turning blue. I cannot wait any longer.
I don't know. The whole thing sounded a little too performative to me. Plus, it didn't seem as though she administered CPR. In my opinion, I think that she was a little too concerned about how she sounded. Plus, she was busy talking back to that black woman on the other end of the phone. Very disrespectful. And the yelling, the F-bombs, so unnecessary. But you know, she's a humble, six-figure woman from the Midwest. These jokes just continue to write themselves. I mean, you can't make this shit up. But who are we to judge, huh? Imagine exiting Earth after a one-night stand. Is that a good or a bad thing? Torturing black women, telling them that they're gonna die alone, only to end up dying with a one-night stand. Damn, Karma, you put in some overtime with this one. Imagine calling women leftovers just to end up stiff in the fridge, all alone in the dark. Words really do have power. Be careful, y'all. Didn't he also refer to bigger women as Big Shirley? I mean, how do people not see the disrespect? Any man with any type of class knows this. You never ask a woman her dress size, her weight, or her age. But I suppose the operative word here is class, right? How would you know if you had none? I'm just saying. And just a little side note, and I'm sure a lot of you ladies already know this, but Gabourey Sidibe is getting married. She's not a size 2, and she's over 35. If she had enough low self-esteem to listen to this perfume salesperson, she would probably be sitting somewhere with a tub of ice cream, feeling sorry for herself. However, she did not limit her dating options to just black males. They all clowned her for being overweight and unattractive. Didn't they? Their words, not mine. She opened her options and bam, she's getting married. Because regardless of what you think of her physically, she is still a human being who deserves to be loved, respected, and cherished just like anybody else. This is the type of woman the grandfather, I keep doing that again. The godfather would have told, no, you're too old. And that would have made her leftovers. And I guess in the same breath, he would have told her that she was going to die alone. Here's the thing. No self-respecting black woman would take serious relationship advice from kitten heels. You would have to have an extremely low amount of self-esteem to ask a wannabe high-value man who couldn't seem to keep a decent, functional relationship with anyone about anything. The man's family found out about his demise on social media, just like the rest of us. So, what does that say about him? There's audio circulating of his daughter, allegedly, who had nothing nice to say about him because underneath all those suits was a person who only cared about himself and nobody else. But since the black community is always looking for guidance, a leader, because most people lack father figures in their lives and enjoy trauma bonding, they put this man on a pedestal because he seemed to fulfill a certain yearning. Most of these black males and their mammies are so easily impressed. You really don't have to do much or be much. Just present yourself in a certain way and they fall for it every single time. It's like taking candy from a baby. You have grown-ass men crying over a person that they didn't even know because he filled the void of a father figure. And you call this a community? There are way too many lost sheep seeking guidance from other men on the internet. And while they sit there pretending to have cared about their grandfather, oh man, sorry, I did it again. Godfather, they continue to make videos daily, so many times a day, making money through Cash App and Super Chat. Money that will be pocketed and enjoyed by them and not the deceased's family. But yet, in all of this, divestors are somehow to blame for celebrating his demise? That's funny. Aren't you the ones celebrating his life and profiting through his death? The hypocrisy. The truth of the matter is, black women owe Kevin Samuels nothing. He was rude, disrespectful, and enjoyed putting black women in what he perceived to be their place. Ironically, he died by his own words. So be careful what you put out to the universe. It might just come back to bite you in the ass. So, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And remember, ladies, black women will continue to be made a mockery of. Only we have the power to change our image. Let's continue to fight back. Thank you so much for watching. This is Divested Diamonds, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.